Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the same little two-man show again. AJ couldn't make it again, which is unfortunate. But back again with a two-man show. Barron and myself. How are we doing after a big win for you?
I'm doing just great, bro. How are you doing?
I'm doing horrible.
I know.
Yeah, it was the most depressing thing I've ever watched.
Don't worry, we'll get into it.
We'll get to my thoughts because I want to talk about it a little bit, but
and we'll definitely get to my thoughts.
yeah, we'll get to your thoughts, but it was actually a really exciting week of football this week.
It
really was an exciting week of football.
Besides Monday, actually, no, Monday night wasn't that exciting. I'll say because the game was a lot closer than it really was because of that last 8 points they scored, kind of garbage time. The Bills.
Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday.
Not Monday night.
Yeah, sorry, Sunday.
You're good.
But like, I don't know. I feel like this week's primetime games were like not that exciting, and then every other game was.
I mean, I guess the Titans Steelers, which we can get into first.
Yeah,
it was coming down to kind of a closer one. You know, the Titans had the ball. You know,
yeah, I guess that was
like that.
Better.
So I guess there was a little bit of
yeah.
parity towards it, but the Steelers got the W.
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis did not throw 250 and 2 touchdowns, so we can't call him the GOAT yet.
Not yet.
But he did throw for, I think,
he did have a good game.
241.
He had a good game.
No touchdowns, no picks.
He had a good
That's
game.
pretty solid for a really good defense. So
I mean, he's doing well. He's easily the second best rookie quarterback.
Yeah, he's now named the starter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he's the second best rookie quarterback.
I mean, who would you put above him?
Richardson.
Well, he's out for the season.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, obviously, skill-wise, I'm
I'd
sure
still take
Richardson
Anthony.
I'd say this. I think Anthony Richardson was going to have a better career this season.
Career this season?
Sorry, not
You're
career. He was
good.
going to have a better season than Will Levis.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm sorry, my brain's fried. So he's going to have a better season than Will Levis.
Yeah, but then
injuries
the injury,
happen, so... Yeah, I mean, but behind C.J. Stroud...
Yeah, we're just looking at the first kind of...
I mean, those are the four really that have played.
Yeah, but like the first couple games for Will Levis, so...
Yeah.
Other than that, but he's played... You know, the Steelers' defense is good at home. And the Falcons' defense is pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's been in the middle of the pack, so he's had some pretty good games.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they took the loss. They fall to 3-5. Steelers, once again... I'm not going to say they found a way to win because I think they low-key kind of deserve to win this game.
Okay.
But they won another game. Most of the games they should not have won this season, but they moved to 5-3, second in the division in the AFC North.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts besides that game other than...
Well, I'll just go ahead and put it out there. I didn't really watch any of the primetime games this week. Had a big exam today that I was studying for, so I only really watched back end of the Monday.
Oh, you took it today?
1 o'clock. Yeah, it was today.
Oh, word.
So I watched the back end of the 1 o'clock games and then the 4 o'clock games, obviously.
Okay, there you go. I watched a lot of football this week.
I bet you did. And then I did watch the last half of the Germany game as well.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't want to be unprepared for this, so I've watched some highlights and
there you go.
I've seen some people's reactions to the games that I did watch.
Okay.
So I think I'll be able.
Yeah,
to
I was tuned in. I was locked in this
That's
week.
good.
So.
I wish I could have been, but
yeah, literally all my like exams and stuff. I finished like on Friday, and so I was like, I'm totally locking in this week and stuff.
That's kind of how it was. I just had this one that went over into this week.
Yep.
So and it was the biggest one. So.
Yeah, it was big. It was a big week. So let's start with the 9:30, the Frankfurt game.
Yeah.
The Chiefs go in there, take the dub, like we both predicted.
Right.
Any thoughts about that one? To the Dolphins fall to 0-3 against winning teams.
Yes. I'll definitely say that was definitely their better loss out of their 3 losses this year.
Yeah.
Because their first one they got blown out by the Bills.
Yep.
Not a good look.
Yep.
Second loss.
They played the Eagles.
Right.
I think there was some controversy,
right.
but I think the Eagles still won that game.
I think they still would have won the game anyway.
Yeah.
And then, but I'll look at this game. I mean, the only difference was that Tyreek Hill fumble.
Yeah.
If he doesn't fumble, then at least the Chiefs don't get another 14.
Yeah.
And then that you possibly score more as Miami, and that could have
because they were in the red. They were close to the red zone when that happened. So.
And and they came out in the second half and absolutely shut the Chiefs down. And I was watching some a recap of that as well, talking about how they were trying to just take away Travis Kelce and make the receivers make plays and for Kansas City, and they can't. So
kind of worked, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how teams play the Chiefs going ahead. They've got a bye week.
Yep.
And we know Andy Reid's going to be working very hard to try and fix these offensive problems. But
yeah.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins. I think that was the better. I'll say it again. That was definitely the better of the games that they lost
Against above 500
above
teams.
500
Yeah,
teams.
I agree with that too.
So I don't think their season's over from this game. I think you actually have
I mean,
a lot
they're still top of the AFC.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
I actually think you have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
Because your defense really, they didn't play great first half, but halftime adjustments came out and stuffed them.
Mm-hmm.
So
both teams are on bye this week, so
exactly. So I think Miami's got a lot of. I think you look back at that game. I think Miami feels better about their situation going forward than the Chiefs do, because we know the Chiefs have a really great defense, but offensively this year they just have not been the same. And, of course, it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. So, as we're saying this, they're probably going to come out of the bye week
and just
be a completely different team.
Yeah.
But, I think but both teams going into the bye week, I don't think it's wrong to say that the Chiefs probably have more to work on than the Dolphins.
Yeah, they'll be playing y'all after the bye week. So,
I'm well aware.
Big game Monday night there in 2 weeks. We'll talk about that when it gets to it. But a win for the Chiefs. I agree with you all. I was actually... they almost had the chance, and Tua had the meme throw where it slipped out of his hand. Basically, throw. That was, and
I don't know what happened there.
I think when you take away, when you take just the basis of the game and what could have happened, I agree with you. I think I'd be more confident as a Dolphins fan, even after a loss like that you show that you could fight up against a good team. So.
Or that you prove that you can figure out what you're doing wrong in the first half. And you can make the adjustments necessary to then go out in the second half and be better.
Yep.
And then those are signs of great teams in the league. So I think if you're a Dolphins fan, you definitely are feeling a lot better. You're feeling a lot better than the media wants you to. Let's just put it that way.
That's true. So Chiefs win.
Yep.
They move to 7-2. They're coming in the bye week for them, so good for them.
Yep.
Then we move to the 1:00 games. I'm just gonna quick one out the way. The Packers beat the Rams.
Did you see that was actually. Rams, I was talking to AJ actually about this before the games even started, because the NFL apparently issued a big warning about this week and gambling issues, because the Rams -3, 77% of the money was on that for the week.
In the NFL?
Yeah.
Or the Packers -3 or the Rams
No, the Rams -3.
Really?
Yeah, 77%.
Or +3, I think?
It was -3.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Let me double check. It might.
Yeah, you should, because the odds were -3 Packers. So.
Okay, then it might have changed. Let me double check.
The NFL issued a warning?
Yeah, I got an alert.
To who?
To the general gambling public. They just said, "Be careful what you gamble this week." Is essentially what they were saying.
What?
And I
didn't even hear this.
Yeah, so we were talking about it because Bleacher Report made a post with the top 5 most bet on whatever.
They always do a public warning.
Yeah, but it's and then they had it, and it was a lot of money on these spreads. And I guess this week was just a big influx of people gambling. So the NFL thought it was to cover their ass move to just issue a be responsible, be careful.
Yeah, you gotta be responsible.
But it was weird because after that was announced, it was everyone's like, okay, well, what's going on? So give me 1 second. I have it right here. Yeah, sorry. Rams +3.5. I was wrong. But 77% was on that.
Was it a BR betting post?
Yes.
Yeah, and they always, every week they do, a watch out, the public are on these teams, and it'll be 84% that. That's what it said?
Yeah.
They did that for college football, and a lot of people were on Notre Dame. So, yep.
Yeah, but if we take a look at these, we can go and see which ones hit and didn't hit.
They did. Go through it.
Rams +3.5.
Missed.
Did not hit. Colts -2.
That one cashed.
Yeah, that one hit. Bengals -2.5.
That cashed.
Eagles -3.
Yep.
Also cashed. And then I think this is the last one that didn't. Bucks +3.
That did not. Wait, Bucks +3 cashed.
Did it? Oh yeah. They only lost by.
Yeah, because they kneeled the 2-point conversion.
Right.
So that did cash.
That did.
So the public looking up there, 4 to 5.
Yeah, good week for the boys.
Good week for the public.
Exactly.
But I just wanted to go quickly with that game. There was no Matt Stafford, and that kind of really kills the Rams.
Yeah,
as a team.
I don't know why so many people were on the Rams beforehand with Stafford out.
Because the Packers. That's why.
Yeah.
But the Packers pick up the win at home.
They're feeling the love.
And then we'll go to big winner this week in Dog of the Day. The Commanders knocked off the Patriots.
Yeah.
I expected it, to be honest, because I don't really trust the Patriots this year. So, Commanders knocked them off. I mean, I don't really have many headlines for that game either. It was 2017. I can go through it as well. Sam Howell threw for 325. Once again, 45 attempts.
Yeah,
Mac Jones threw 44 attempts and only had 220. That was really it. Ramondre Stevenson had a really big run. It was like 64, 65
It's like one of
yards
their
maybe.
only offensive scores.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Sam Howell's having a great year. I know he's getting sacked a lot. They're losing, but if you look at his stats and his individual play, I mean,
new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy.
He's playing a lot better than a lot of people thought he would.
Yeah.
So, give him his credit. I definitely, if Washington decides to move on from him after this season because they think he's the problem, then that's a bad
Sam Howell?
move. Yeah.
I don't think they will move on from him.
People are asking for it.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it, but
Wow.
I haven't seen it as of late, so I guess it might have died down. But I just remember that game they played against the Bills, like they got blown out, but he still threw for like 350 yards.
But they only played 3 points, so.
Yeah, but I mean, he still threw for a lot. It was impressive for a guy as his first year as the starter. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, this guy sucks. Get him out of here." I'm like, "What are you talking about?
True.
Like, give him a better line. He's playing a lot better."
Yep, I agree.
So.
But they got the win. Then we go to the Vikings and the Falcons. Josh Dobbs didn't even know the cadence of the center, but
didn't even know he was playing.
Exactly, didn't even know the names of the people he was playing with, but
Exactly.
drove down there, threw a game-winning touchdown. I think 22 seconds left, and the Vikings picked up a win, a little dog win right there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. I think that's like a 4-game win streak they're on now or something like that, and they moved to 5-4.
They definitely have
second in the NFC North.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of momentum right now.
They do have a lot of momentum, and Josh Dobbs has proved he's definitely worth something in the league.
Yes,
so.
he is. Wow. He
good journeyman QB right there for kind of bridge teams. So
I mean,
good for him. The Falcons take the loss. Quickly fire Arthur Smith. I think that's just the problems of our team.
So after 2 bad losses, because I mean, Will Levis debut game went off. I would say that's a bad loss.
Yep.
Season's over.
Season's not even close to over. No,
Not over.
It's not over.
That's good.
We're second in the NFC South. I'm still confident in the team, but the reason I'm not confident in the team as much as I should be, is because we don't utilize our good players.
Exactly.
Kyle Pitts, we had a ball at the goal line, right? We had an end around to our second string tight end, right? Then we gave it back to Jonnu Smith. Then we gave it to Tyler Algier. Bijan Robinson's had 1 carry inside the 5 this year. 1. That is a crime.
Yeah. I mean, why draft him?
Exactly.
I mean, look at all the guys on defense.
Why are we not right? Drake London was injured this game. Okay, why is Kyle Pitts not even flexing towards a wide receiver spot? He's 6'6". We know he can run a 4.4, 4.5. Like Arthur Smith has to have some.
How did he get that job? I saw something saying he's like related. He's like dad.
His dad is the owner of FedEx.
Exactly.
But he got the job because he was the Titans offensive coordinator.
Well, how did he get that job?
Well, probably did something else. But when he was the Titans offensive coordinator, Ryan Tannehill was throwing for like 220 and 250.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry's like looking like a beast. Remember they went to the AFC Championship game and all that stuff.
Oh, you're talking about like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
When they played Brady?
Oh, when they went to at least the divisionals and stuff like that.
You're talking about when they won the 1 seed?
He may have been the offensive coordinator when that was the case.
I don't know.
So
I don't know much about Arthur Smith.
But I don't think he should be our head coach.
No, I don't either.
His ground and the thing, right, is his ground and pound style of play. I somewhat support, especially with our QB situation. But when Bijan Robinson's getting 10 carries a game and we're playing ground and pound, I don't like it at all. Right?
Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, if you look at the Falcons, like drafting Bijan Robinson was an upgrade. Like Tyler Algier
still had 1,000 yards last year, right? But Bijan, we've seen him play. People put him in their top 3 running backs because they saw him play.
Exactly. So I feel like if you were gonna use Algier, you should have drafted a defensive player. But you drafted arguably one of the top 2 offensive players in the draft.
Yeah.
So
it was between him and C.J. Stroud for Rookie of the Year.
And the fact, it was.
It was.
It's over.
Yeah.
2 weeks, it's over. And C.J. Stroud lost in those 2 weeks, and it's still over.
What do you mean?
He lost to the Panthers last week.
And nobody won this week.
That's what I'm saying. Like within the past 2 weeks of Bijan Robinson doing jack shit, C.J. Stroud not only lost, but he came back. I'm sure we're about to talk
next
about.
Game. Yep.
Had a monster game.
Yeah,
we already won offensive.
Do you have any thoughts about the Falcons you want to talk about before we move that?
I'll just say defense looked not the best.
Obviously,
I definitely think
Falcons.
I thought it could have played a lot better given the personnel out on the field. I mean, as great as Josh Dobbs played, I mean, it is a little. I'm just saying this. It was 2 bad losses in a row.
I wasn't really mad at the Taylor Heineke performance, to be honest.
I don't think you would have been. I think in a game where you score 28 points and you're playing against a third-string quarterback, I think that's the game. Especially in a game where you get a safety and get a bunch of these stops. I think those are games that you need to win. And the fact that he kind of came back with 40 seconds left and scored that touchdown, that's just 2 bad losses in a row. That's why I wanted to ask you, because with the rest of the division kind of underperforming, Bucks lost, and the Panthers just suck. It's kind of a race between y'all and the Saints as of right now. I'm sure the Bucks are somewhere still in the mix.
I mean, I'm still confident we can get it done. So
as long as you still have that,
because the Saints can, we've seen them slip up this year, right? But it's just the mentality has to change.
And I guess it's also a difference of playing in a completely, I don't want to say super. Well, I will say it's not a competitive division.
It's not, and we have one of the easier schedules, right?
Right,
if we were 4-5 and we were in a hard division, I'd be like, oh, season is scrapped, right?
Oh yeah.
Wild card 7 seed at best, right? But now, since we're 1 game back of the division, I'm still confident in what we can do.
And it's really just because the rest of the division is kind of underperforming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely don't think there's I don't think you give out hope for the playoffs, but I think that's where the season ends.
And then we can move on to C.J. Stroud and Texans.
Monster game.
Absolutely. Huge high scoring performance this week for both teams.
Yeah.
Baker had some solid throws.
Yep.
So he looked pretty solid there, but the story ultimately ends in C.J. Stroud's kind of 45-second drive down the field, comeback win, getting 5 touchdowns in the game.
Breaking
the single season or single
passing yard.
Game passing record for a rookie.
Single game.
470.
And played out of his fucking mind.
I mean, whoever graded the S2 aptitude test is looking for a job this week.
So, my first overreaction to that game, and I'll see what you think about it, is
I got thoughts.
C.J. Stroud is a top 10 quarterback in this league already. That was my overreaction.
Okay.
And then kind of afterwards, looking back at the game and seeing everyone else's kind of reaction, I still feel the same way. At least I'll say this season.
Go ahead.
This season, from week 1 to where we are now after week 9, C.J. Stroud has been playing as one of the top 10 quarterbacks in today's league.
I think I'll disagree with that.
Okay.
But because he still had some bad, like against the Panthers, he threw for 140. Right. He's still there. He's still young, but I mean, I would say he's been top 50. I'd put him around like 13 or 12.
Okay.
So, especially with injuries happening this season to quarterbacks as well.
Mm-hmm. That's also what again, when I say based on this season, I'm talking about I can only maybe see actually, I don't even know if I would put him at 10. I'm just saying he's definitely one of the top 10 quarterbacks playing, or he's playing like one of the top 10 quarterbacks this season.
Got it. I can see that. I can see why you say it. I'll put him still around that mid-range though.
Okay.
Because he's had his shaky performances, but he's had some really good performances, and he's definitely been on the better half. So, good for him. Good for the Texans as well. Good for D'Amico Ryans, head coach. I always preach his goodness. I say it every week now. So, I'm happy the Texans are kind of building off from last season. Tank Dell made some great catches.
Yep.
Noah Brown had a really big week. I think like 130-some yards.
A touchdown. Yeah.
Nico Collins still there. So they got
Dalton Schultz
stepped up. So
yeah, they had like 3 receivers with over 100 yards.
Yeah,
so.
that's what happens when you throw for 470.
Exactly.
So good for them. I don't remember the top of my head who they play this upcoming week. Okay. So we'll see.
It could be on bye.
Another non-bye. They are playing the Cincinnati Bengals on the road.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do there. These next 2 to 3 games, maybe I can breeze by pretty quickly. The Cardinals got shut out against the Browns. Browns have an elite defense. Josh Dobbs is gone. Clayton Tune played his first game. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really expect anything different. Maybe a shutout is a little too harsh to say, but
no,
I kind of expected like under 10 to 13.
I mean, I consider Cleveland a top 5 defense in this league.
Yeah, obviously.
The Cardinals, after losing Josh Dobbs, I mean, he was throwing the ball, so
Clayton Tune.
Exactly. So I kind of expected that.
I will say that the Bears gave me a little more of a surprise. I didn't think it'd be closer than it was, but they had 5 turnovers, but only lost by 7. So but Saints picked up the win at home. Yep. Ravens blew the hell out of the Seahawks.
Everyone thought that was going to be the biggest game of this league.
Yeah.
And absolutely not.
It was not.
And I will say I did not watch that game, so.
I did. Lamar Jackson, once again, the offense looks really solid. The defense is really impressive to me for the Ravens as well.
Okay.
And Geno just didn't really have much to do. Like, it did not look like he had options. So,
Right.
really, they had one good play. DK Metcalf had a 50-yard catch. He had one catch for 50 yards. It was a really big play. But other than that,
Only
it was
3 points.
It was literally all
I was about to
Ravens.
say, I remember,
Look kind of like the Lions game, basically.
I remember looking like on my phone and look at the score and be like, "Is this game like worth tuning into?" And then when I saw they were up 21-3, I said no.
Yeah. Then I will say the Colts and the Panthers. I mean,
That was at 4 o'clock, right?
that was a 4:25, 4:05.
It was them. Oh yeah, it was 2 terrible games, and then
I'll be honest, that was one of the games I did not watch the most because there's the Eagles game, and then you can clown me if you want, but I was actually more interested in the Raiders-Giants game because I want to see Antonio Pierce head coach.
oh no, I was watching that one too.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean, I was watching that game as well. Raiders looked really good. Without Josh McDaniels.
They also were playing the Giants, so take it with a
right.
I'm saying with a decent grain of salt there. But the way they bonded, right? He had the practice squad guys come out. He had the dude smoking cigars and Instagram lives.
It's a different team.
It looked different. The vibes felt different. So
And, I mean, have you heard the reports of why the Raiders ultimately did fire McDaniels?
I think I did, but you can remind me.
So they basically had a big meeting, right? And he was talking about we need to have that mindset like the 07 Giants. Like, we may not be the best team in the world, but we can beat the undefeated Patriots.
Yeah.
And apparently the reports were that everyone on the team really was buying into this and they liked it. And then Josh McDaniels pulled them aside and said, "Don't you ever fucking talk about the Patriots like that again."
Oh,
and
I haven't heard that.
He told that to Antonio Pierce, and Pierce told the owner Mark Davis. Mark Davis said, "Sayonara."
Wow.
So
apparently
that was the moment.
I heard about
the
the meeting where all the players were meeting and they were just ripping into Josh McDaniels the entire time.
That was the players only.
Yeah.
I think this was a completely.
Wow! What the hell? I don't remember that.
Yeah, this was recent. This is like a locker room meeting.
There you go.
Yeah, and Antonio Pierce was getting the team to buy into this identity of, we may not have the best roster, but we can go out there and beat anyone.
There you go.
And yeah, Josh McDaniels just said not against my fucking Patriots.
Damn shit.
And yeah, according to the reports,
his ass is going back to New England, baby.
Probably, but yeah. So according to the reports, after Mark Davis heard that, he said, "Yeah, we're done with him."
Yeah, screw that. But they got the win. Josh Jacobs had a pretty good game. He had 98 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And the Giants' season's over.
And the Giants' season is definitely over. They are now in tank mode. I will say,
next year.
Yeah, I will say it's unfortunate that they have had injuries. It's unfortunate that Daniel Jones tore his ACL. Hoping for the best for him. You know, you're an Eagles fan and you kind of sucks.
Doesn't matter.
If you watch his injury, it was kind of sad.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I didn't
he dropped back. It was non-contact.
Yeah,
it was kind of fuck, man.
Well, he wasn't gonna beat us anyway, so.
Yeah, well, obviously.
It doesn't
but
matter
just
whether
still.
he plays or not.
Still, not a really good team.
Yeah, prayers for Daniel Jones.
I'm hoping Dable won't get fired, but I don't think he should.
I don't think he's getting fired after this year.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're. I think
there will be changes made to the surrounding coordinators and stuff.
I think it's interesting though, because I think if this injury happens 3 weeks earlier to Daniel Jones, I think Saquon Barkley's gone. I think he's traded.
I think so too.
So
that's it.
I think that really sucks for him.
Yep, I agree.
He took that big paycheck for 3 more years, and that team's going nowhere. So.
Yep. And then the final game until the prime time, I'll let you go into it. The Eagles knocked off the Cowboys.
Yeah. I probably grew 17 gray hairs that whole game.
Yep.
I was about to throw something right through that TV right there at least 3 times. But that's just the emotions of being an Eagles fan, I guess.
Any frustration on Jalen Hurts?
No. Actually, I think he played out of his goddamn mind.
Okay.
Especially on one leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been dealing with that knee injury kind of the whole season. He's tried not to let people see that he's been playing with it. He wants people to kind of not know that.
Yeah, he's been kind of pushing it down.
But he's been injured since week 1, and then after that Micah Parsons sack right before halftime, he was limping into the locker room.
Yep.
I mean, I thought the game was over at that point. We were gonna see number 8 Marcus Mariota trot onto the field.
Oh, I love me some Marcus from last year, baby.
Just seeing number 1 come out of the locker room immediately got me excited again, and then we scored 14 unanswered points out of halftime, and I think that was ultimately what kind of cost them the game. Well, not ultimately, but that quick or that big like second half start for us, I think, is what won us the game.
Okay.
And then if we want to talk about the Cowboys side of the ball,
are you gonna rip into Dak or no?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
So this is what I've been seeing kind of online, on the air, all around the NFL world. He had a great game. That easily his best game against the Eagles.
I agree.
350 plus yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers.
Yep.
I mean, if you told me Dak Prescott was going to have that stat line before the game, I would have told you that we lost by 20.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I would say about 20, but it would at least been a loss. 100%.
So, I think a lot of it came... I'll say this. I know we've talked a lot behind the scenes about how important coaching is.
Yes, very important. Fire Smith.
We get into these debates a lot, and my standpoint is there's a few, not a few, but there's a good amount, not a good amount. There's a bunch of teams in the league, right? I'd say 4 or 5 that have really talented rosters, but they're not going anywhere because their coaching sucks.
Do you want to name them? Chargers?
Chargers are one.
Yep.
I'll say the 2 biggest... I'll say Chargers, Falcons, Cowboys are one. I'm trying to forget the other ones. I don't want to say the Bills, but I feel like they have some questionable coaching things that happened in games, but I don't want to put them in that category.
I don't think so either.
So we'll just stick with these 3 for now.
Sure.
Really talented rosters, but yeah, coaching sucks. So in the Cowboys game, this was on their second possession before they got stood up. There was less than 4 minutes. They were down by 2 scores or 11 points. So you got to score and get the ball back. They had all their timeouts, and they're driving up the field. They make a big play, and then the rest of the time they're just kind of just waiting for the clock to run out, and they wasted a lot of time. And I feel like that they could have had some more chances there.
They've had some really bad clock management issues under McCarthy. So
and I think that's one of his biggest flaw. That is his biggest flaw, and I think that's ultimately cost them not 1 but 2 playoff games, both against the 49ers. But especially in this game, I'll say this though. I think this game ultimately sums up who Dak Prescott is as a quarterback. He can throw. He's a good thrower. He can win you games, or not win you games, but he can play really well.
He also made some good moves out of the pocket. He improvised. It was CeeDee Lamb 17 first down, I think on 3rd and 15 early in the game, which is good.
But he had a few mistakes in that game, and that's ultimately what lost him the game.
And a lot of quarterbacks can make it depends the majority of your mistakes or the significance of your mistakes, right? No turnovers. So like the significance of his mistakes weren't as significant as maybe other mistakes, right?
Exactly.
So
I mean, the only turnover that came in that whole game was the very last play. CeeDee Lamb actually fumbled the ball and it got knocked out. But But I saw someone say this: if the Eagles lost the game, we would be looking at Jalen Hurts and talking completely different about how he played. We would be nitpicking the little mistakes.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking about your Jalen Hurts criticism. Yeah.
Exactly. The clock management on our part at the end of the game. That 3rd down where we threw it deep instead of run the ball. I don't know what that was, but yeah. So it was all around just a great football game.
Yeah.
And someone doesn't have to win, but someone won and someone lost because no one wants to see a tie, but that is possible in the regular season. So one team's going to lose, and people are going to look at the team that lost, and they're going to nitpick.
I think that game need to flip the coin, though, a little bit, because it was really close, and I think if the Cowboys won, we'll be like, wow, the Eagles at home.
But what I am sick of seeing is the ref excuses, because the refs were calling penalties on both teams, and they missed calls on both teams. They made bad calls.
I will say this, there was a lot of bickering and fussing on both sides.
There was, because, the big one that I see is the Cowboys fans were upset about the James Bradbury no call helmet to the face. Like, oh, that's a first down. We should have scored. One of the 4th down plays that they converted earlier in the game, one of their offensive linemen hands to the face to one of our D linemen. That wasn't called, and they converted and scored off that drive. So, like you said, it goes both ways.
Double-sided point.
I mean, Eagles Dolphins. There was some.
There is. There is. There was no come be sly about it.
I'm saying
there is.
You can look at it and say, okay, officiating in this game, there might have been something going on.
Oh, there might have been. There was some pretty clear cuts.
But in a game like this, can't point at that when there's. I mean, there were more penalty yards on us than there were them. So they're the same amount of calls. So yeah, you can't blame the refs. It was a close game. Ultimately, it was just bad clock management and some bad. I don't want to say bad. I'd say the only bad decision Dak made that whole game was when he threw the ball short, and then on that 4th down play where they initially called it a touchdown and then it wasn't. I'd say that was the only bad decision that he really made that whole game. Mm-hmm. So when it comes down to that, it was a great game played by both quarterbacks. Really, the defenses were kind of what led that to be such a good game. Both kind of underperformed, and ultimately just came down to which defense wanted to make the play, make the stop that was going to decide the game, and it was our defense. So
there you go.
That's all I'll say.
We'll move to Sunday night. Like you said, the Bills kind of scored that late.
Yeah.
Garbage time points, if you want to talk about it.
I feel like that game was not as close.
I thought the Bengals were going to win it as well. The jungle was striped, and the jungle showed out. Joe Burrow threw for about almost 350. Yeah. 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's back in his form. Not injured anymore. Looking like the Joey B that we all knew. Had a slow start last year.
That's to get his
had a slow start this year.
Out of the way.
There you go.
But kind of like we talked about last year, is that 4-game, because last year that 4-game slump, their division was so bad, or injuries and the rest of the division just being bad, it didn't matter.
They're still last in the division,
exactly.
But
so this year we'll see.
They can easily get a wild card spot this year, because I'm not as confident in the Browns offense and not confident in the Steelers offense. So we'll see how it goes. We'll say this: the Buffalo Bills fall to 5-4 are pretty even on the. They will and won't make the playoff odds, which is interesting. And Josh Allen, man, has had a streak of 5 straight games with interception.
Madden curse
is hitting him. So
it's hitting the whole team.
Yeah. We'll see how the Bills do, how the Bills bounce back. But unfortunately for them, it's a little bit of a panic mode because you should have a team that should be competing for an AFC championship.
I mean, you have the team that should be winning your division right now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if you look at the Dolphins, who are winning it right now, they can't beat a winning team. And you've absolutely kicked the shit out of them when you played them. So you absolutely
on paper you should be.
Yeah. So let's look ahead for a little bit. Let's theorize. Let's say the Bills.
I can look at the Bills' schedule if you want me to.
Well, let's just say this. Let's assume the Bills miss the playoffs.
Okay.
What happens? We see it changes.
Stephon Diggs will get pissed.
Oh, I know he gets pissed regardless. I'm saying
I think it'll actually be more of a buy-in.
Buy-in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they'll buy in more. I think they'll make a big trade for either a running back, which I've been preaching, right? I preached Derrick Henry going there a lot.
Leonard Fournette.
Yep, which is stupid. But I preached Derrick Henry going there, and I was like, if it costs you max a 3rd-round pick, go and get him, right? Okay. Make that push. So I think they're going to do something in the offseason. We'll sign someone, or they'll go out and get a wide receiver.
That's what I'm saying. Or do you think we'll see some coaching changes?
That will be interesting. I don't think so. I don't think
coordinators. Not McDermott. I don't think he's...
Maybe. I think, of course, it's always some coordinator bullshit.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? But I think McDermott will stay under the helm.
Yeah, I think he
will too. And I look ahead the next 3 games. They got the Broncos.
Okay, they should win
They got the Jets.
They should also win that.
Both games at home, and then they got the Eagles on the road.
I don't know if they win that.
I don't think they'll win that either. And then they have a really hard stretch of that. They got the bye week, and then they got the Chiefs on the road, the Cowboys at home, and the Chargers on the road.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I think it's kind of a tough stretch.
That is a very tough stretch.
We'll see how the Bills can push forward.
They got these 2. Let's just say this: if they lose one of these next 2 games, season's over.
Okay. There you go.
That's my prediction. But they should.
I think they'll win both.
They should win both. Especially if they're at home.
There you go.
But yeah, they should win the next 2 easily.
There we go. I don't really think we can talk much about Monday night either. It wasn't really much. Do you want to talk about much of it either?
I mean,
Chargers went 27-6. Jets had more offensive yards.
I only watched the first half.
But Eckler did his thing. 2 touchdowns. The only touchdowns in the game.
There was punt return. Yeah. That was the only
offensive touchdowns.
Thing. Yeah, no offensive touchdowns.
I had Herbert in fantasy. He only had 160 yards passing.
Yeah, it was
136.
Pathetic. But you won, so I guess it's not that big a deal.
In my fantasy game?
No, it's about the Chargers.
Well, I did win.
I mean, that's good for you, but I actually won too.
There you go.
I don't know how, but
Browns defense dropped me 23, so I was chilling.
I need to go see how I won. I beat my younger brother too. So
screw that kid.
All games
screw that little kid.
I'm 2-6, but who cares?
You are?
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh, you're trash.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, my team's dog shit. But
Yeah, it's because you made your own draft board.
Yeah, I guess so.
We
might have to change that.
Chargers get the win. They move to 4-4. Jets get the loss. They lose their 3-game win streak. They fall to 4-4.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good win for the Chargers because if they lost that game, we'd probably be saying their season's over too.
Yeah.
Because they would
barring any miracle.
Yeah, exactly. But they would have been third. And I guess they still are third. I guess they're probably.
I think they're second.
They're second because they beat the Raiders. But
yeah, they're second.
But they're still record wise they are tied for
4-4
second.
and 4-5.
4-4 and 4-5.
Yeah, Raiders haven't had their bye week yet, so.
Oh, okay, so the Chargers aren't.
Yeah, Chargers are 500.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely needed to win that game.
Yeah, 2-game win streak for the Chargers.
You fall down to third in your division at the halfway point, especially with your division not being that competitive. It's not a good look when you're a team that's trying to win it all, when you have the roster and the ambition to win it all.
Yep, I agree.
So
I think that'll kind of do it for a Week 8 recap. It was a really or it was a Week 9 recap. That's what it was. Week 9 recap. My apologies.
You did.
But it was a really big week of football. Really exciting.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully we can get the same week this week. Probably not.
Have
The primetime games are just trash. So.
Abysmal.
But hey, any given Sunday. Any given Sunday. So let's do it. So our wild card segment this week, since we're at the halfway point,
we're gonna do some
mid-season grades, baby.
Yes, sir.
So I actually wrote down the mid-season grades, and either I can tell you my highest grade and my lowest grade in each division, or I can tell you some surprising ones, or
I'm just trying to think of because the way I kind of want to talk about this is, I mean, who cares about teams that are performing the way we thought they were?
I gave the teams that are performing some pretty good grades.
I mean, yeah, obviously, but my thought process with this kind of idea was we kind of look at the teams that have been playing better than what we kind of expected, and then the teams that have kind of been playing worse than what we expected.
Sure,
so like
we can do that.
I guess I'll give
you my highest and my lowest grade in each division too.
Yeah.
Your example is what? Go ahead.
What was I gonna say?
You can give me a team and I'll throw you my grade out there.
So like, I guess just off the top of my head because I didn't write any of this down, but like. So your Super Bowl pick was the 49ers, right?
It was.
So you probably say at the beginning of the season you give them an A to A+.
Right now their grade?
No. I'm talking about the beginning.
Of the beginning of the season, yeah, I'll give it A.
A to A+.
Yeah.
B right now.
It's actually at a B.
All right. So
they're not the highest grade in their division.
Yeah. So
they're leading.
Something kind of like that. I was kind of talking about.
There
you can go ahead and give.
Okay, so I started with the NFC and then went down to the AFC. I started with the NFC East. My highest grade is the Eagles. I have them at A.
Okay.
My lowest grade is the Giants. They're one of my two teams with an F.
F? 1 of 2 overall?
Overall.
Okay. I think I know who the other one is, but keep going.
Who's the other one?
Cardinals?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Cardinals are actually one of my higher grades.
Oh, then I actually think I do know who it is, but keep going.
I almost put them at a D- because they were over under with 7.5 wins, but they are just the games where they did look healthy, it just still wasn't good, and their season's now in the tank, and they paid a lot of money for Daniel Jones. He just hasn't looked like the quarterback he should be with $40 million a year.
Well,
so
we won't be seeing him anymore this year, anyways.
Maybe. Well, yeah, obviously. But I thought you were gonna say anymore in general, but we'll see. Next year we'll see how he performs, and then next year's make or break for him.
And then you can just give me a Commanders and Cowboys. You want to talk about.
Cowboys had B+.
Okay.
I think that the wins they had were good wins, the loss they had were good loss beside the Cardinals. They've had some good wins. They've taken care of their business. Commanders had a B-.
Okay.
Even though they're I think sitting at 4-5. I think Bieniemy's made the offense look completely different from last year. Ron Rivera's on the hot seat, but they've won some games where I was surprised they've won. There's some games where they got blown out, and they're kind of approaching the over-under win total. Okay. So, NFC West, my highest grade is the Seahawks. I have them at A-.
A-, okay.
I was boarding between the A and A- because they're competing.
You make this after the Ravens game?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why they're A-.
Okay.
And I have the lowest grades as the Rams with a C+.
C+.
I have the Cardinals at a B-.
B- for the Cardinals. Wow. Okay.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, tanking.
Right.
Right. And the games they've played, they've actually looked pretty solid. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And this is without Josh Dobbs, or this is with Josh Dobbs, really. Right. And if Josh Dobbs played last week and they played decent, I'll probably give him a B.
Okay.
But we expected them to falter last week.
I see.
And the game they won was against a good team, and they've made games that the Ravens, who've looked one of the best teams, they've made close, right? They've made games that should not be close in spreads. They cover it, and they at least make it competitive. So
yeah, no, I agree with you.
And they're still losing, so
they're doing what they need to do.
They're doing what was expected.
And they beat the Cowboys.
They did.
You can give him an A for
the what is it? Oh, I skipped by the NFC South. Highest grade I have is the Saints with a B.
Okay.
The lowest I have is the Panthers with a D plus.
D plus. Okay.
Because I expected more from Bryce Young.
Yes.
I expected more actually from Miles Sanders when they signed him.
I expected more from that offense as a whole.
Exactly, right?
Defense kind of hasn't been playing as well as it could be.
I just expected a little more from the team, even though they weren't supposed to be great. I expected more from them, right?
And they're definitely not trying to tank.
Yeah.
They don't have their own
Saints are to B because they're leading the division. It's not a great division, and they still have a weak schedule, and they're 5-4, right? But they're leading their division right now. They've made some good plays. Tyquan Thornton looks pretty solid. Michael Thomas had some decent plays. Kamara's looked really good since he came back from suspension. So for the midseason, I'm gonna give him a B.
Okay.
And that's. Oh, did I skip by NFC North too?
I guess you.
I did. Lions, I have it at A.
All right, I like that one too.
And then my lowest grade is the Packers with a D minus.
D minus. Wow.
Because the Packers, the games
I give them a D.
The games they've won, right?
Yes.
And when I was going through it, here I'll go through it right now.
Okay.
They're second to last division. They're 3-5. Mm-hmm. The games they've won were the Rams, right? John Wolford or their backup quarterback's playing. They beat the Saints by 1 on a miraculous comeback, and they beat the Bears.
Okay.
That was it. Other than that, they lost to the Falcons. They lost to the Lions. They lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Broncos. They lost to the Vikings. I mean, there's some pretty bad losses.
Yeah, there are. I just don't know if I could give them a higher grade than the Bears.
The Bears, I have also at a D.
Okay.
And the reason I have them at D is because Justin Fields got injured, and they even won with a backup, but still, like, they had the quarterback injury, and I almost put them at a D minus because of the fan hype. Mm-hmm. But at the same time,
well, that's what I was gonna say, because like before this season, everyone was telling me Justin Fields is gonna be the MVP this year.
Yeah.
And he's really. Obviously, he's been out 2 games.
He's had like 1 or 2 good games.
But yeah, he's only had 2 games where he's even looked like a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So just based on that alone and the fact that you traded away the first overall pick. I mean, DJ Moore has been balling out on Chicago. We'll give him his credit. But I just feel like you could have used that draft pick and gotten something better than DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I feel like for the Bears, I feel like at the beginning of the season, everyone thought that they were going to be a lot better, or not a lot, but everyone thought they were going to be better than kind of what they were at right now. I just don't feel like that with the Packers. I feel like the Packers are kind of sitting exactly where we thought they would be.
I think the Packers, I expect them to just put up more of a fight in their schedule. Like I said, right?
I guess
there's some games they lost.
Yeah.
They on paper should have won.
Yeah.
So that's my NFC. So the highest grade in the NFC I have is the Eagles at A. Okay. The lowest I have is the Giants at F.
Do you have any A pluses on this list?
I do.
Okay.
Then I move to the AFC. Highest grade I have is the Dolphins at a B plus.
B plus. Okay.
The reason is that because they can't beat a 500 team or over 500 team, right?
I would only give them a B, but
I have a B plus because Tyreek is playing out his mind. The offense has looked. There's some points where the offense looks great, right?
It looks more than just great.
Exactly, but they need to do it against the good teams.
Yeah.
So, but we see it's there, right? Mm-hmm. And they're leading their division, which is the toughest division in football.
Yeah.
Right. The lowest grade I have in the ACS is my other F, which is the Patriots at an F.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're the only team with 7 losses. They're the worst team in the AFC, first of all.
Yeah.
But I expected better from Mac Jones, the new offensive coordinator, and Bill O'Brien, who's had some really good stints offensive coordinator. And I expected more from the games they played, and the 2 games they've won. One was against, I think it was the second game of Zach Wilson, in a really trashy 15-10, and a last-second win against the Bills. Other than that, they've been killed. The Eagles, they played good against week 1, but
they only really played well at the end.
Yeah.
It's too late at that point.
There you go. And then my only A plus comes to the AFC North. I gave my A plus to the Ravens.
Okay.
The reason I gave it to the Ravens, they're 7-2. The loss to the Colts, they had 8 offensive injuries. They almost played with second stringers the entire game. They were still 7.5 point spread favorites, but good snack for you on Dog of the Day there, by the way. We'll shout out that. Mm-hmm. But I can give them a little leeway as to why they lost. And then their other loss they had, I think, was to the Steelers. And that was just an ugly game as well on the road against a really good defense.
Division games.
And I think there was 2, and they should have won that game. They dropped Zay Flowers on 2 wide open touchdowns, and they should have won. They've really lost their 2 games down to a couple plays. Right. And they've blown out really good teams at home. Mm-hmm. Right, and they're leading the division. If they can keep that at home, then I got confidence in them.
Okay.
The lowest grade's tie in the AFC North. I got the Steelers at a B minus and the Bengals at B minus.
Okay.
The reason I got the Steelers at B minus, they can't do anything on offense. They're still winning games, but at one point you're gonna get to the point where an offense is gonna trample over your defense.
See, I'd put the Steelers actually at a C plus.
Okay.
And we like the defense.
Yeah. I think the defense is electric.
We know what they are.
Yeah.
We know their identity. But like you're saying, that offense, holy crap, is it bad?
Yeah.
I mean,
it slugs. It really slugs.
I mean, Kenny Pickett he gives you maybe 2 or 3 good plays a game.
Yeah.
And maybe more if the defense he's playing is horrible or bottom 5. So to me, when I look at the Steelers' defense or offense, like yes, you have a win. Do they have a winning record? I don't know.
Steelers?
Yeah.
5-3.
5-3.
Second in the division.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, got a winning record right now. Don't really know how you say. I'd actually say that's probably the most competitive division in the league. So the fact that you're second in that is pretty crazy. But like we said, we know Mike Tomlin has his streak of has to have a winning season, and we know the defense is crucial in that. But yeah, I just don't feel like there's nothing on that Steelers offense that scares like anyone, any defensive coordinator that looks at that offense should just look at it and laugh because it's horrible. I mean, Kenny Pickett can barely throw the ball more than 30 yards. Najee Harris can barely run 10 yards without getting or without making a defender miss or breaking a tackle or just staying up on his feet. Freiermuth's out. You're not getting as consistent tight end play anymore, which is a big thing in today's NFL. And now you're starting to have your rookie wide receiver one out.
Yep.
And then the other wide receiver only has a good game once every 6 games. To me, when you look at that Steelers offense, they don't have the pieces for me to give them anything more than a C plus because they have been winning games right now, but reality is going to catch up to them, and they're not keeping this.
Okay, I had the Bengals at a B minus. I was between a B and a B minus for them, but the reason I went with the B minus is because if I graded them alone off their start of the season, I would give them almost close to an F. Right?
Oh yeah.
Titans pulled them out by 24, right? They barely beat the Rams at home. They lost the Browns on the road, killed by the Browns on the road.
Yeah. And the other one was who they lose to.
They lost week 2 to the Ravens by 3 at home.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm going to say. If I grade you off your start of the season, it'd be closer to D minus or an F.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the expectations.
Oh, okay? My God, yeah.
After that, you beat the Cardinals on the road, which is a game you should win, but it was a good momentum win, right? They came in, beat the Seahawks at home by 4. They then beat the 49ers on the road by 14. Then they beat the Bills at home by 6. But, we got more recency bias on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give them a B minus because of that start. Mm-hmm. Right now, I would give you an A or an A plus on your second half.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've beaten great teams or good to great teams, right? You've done it on the road and at home. But the grading you start, I need to keep that into account. Yeah. I need to keep the expectations of this year so far. You're bottom of your division, so I need to give them a B minus.
And you're one of your AFC Super Bowl contenders.
Yes, exactly. So the way they played the last couple weeks, they're Super Bowl contenders.
Oh yeah,
100%. But the way they played at the start of the year, they were tanking, right? It felt like a tanking team.
It just looked like a team that forgot how to play football.
Exactly. So I had to do that. That's why I gave the Bengals B minus.
No, I completely agree with you. Okay. Browns, I guess, are B.
The Browns are going to be,
yeah. That's probably where I put them too.
Yeah. The defense, AA plus. The offense,
amazing.
Yeah. Has some issues.
A little left to be desired.
PJ Walker's played a couple games, but...
We got Deshaun back.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Deshaun hasn't looked great.
Yeah, and then Nick Chubb's been out this season too.
Okay. So. The AFC South is a little controversial.
Boy.
I have the Jaguars and the Texans tied at A minus. I almost put the Texans at A.
I would agree with that.
Texans at A.
And then Jaguars at A minus.
That's what I have written down.
That's what I would.
But that's what I have in my mind as A minus both. But I have written down as A, Texans A, Jaguars A minus.
Yeah, no, I would definitely give the Texans
the lowest grade I have is the Titans at C plus.
Yeah.
A little controversial.
I would have, and yeah, honestly,
I was close to C to C minus.
I would have put them at D if Will Levis didn't play great.
That's one of the reasons why I have that right there. Will Levis looks pretty solid last 2 games. But I also expect the Titans to be trash. I expected them to trade everything away. I expect them to be bottom of the division. I'm pretty sure I had that at the start of the year. Mm-hmm. So I'm more surprised that they've won a couple games than the games they've won. So we'll go with that. Maybe C plus is a little high, but that's what I had written down.
I give them a C.
The AFC West. Whew. I have the Chiefs at a B plus. It's the highest grade I have.
B plus. AFC West is a bad division this year.
Okay, first of all, the Chiefs are 7-2, right? That's a really good record.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they beat the Dolphins, good wins. Okay, they beat the Broncos, but they lost to the Broncos. They beat the Chargers, the Vikings, the Jets. They barely beat the Jets, which was some controversial win.
Right.
They lost to the Lions week 1 by 1, right? And maybe they could have won that game depending on the injuries. Chris Jones wasn't there holding out. But, to me, the Chiefs still have some problems.
Oh, they definitely do.
We talked about earlier with the offense. Travis Kelce still kind of looks like a shell. He doesn't look as great as he did because the age is catching up, right? I still don't think.
I think
he's still one of the top.
Age.
Yeah.
I think he was really banged up last year, and he got off to a quick start this year, and a lot of attention goes towards him. I mean, Dolphins were double teaming him.
And there's nothing really you can do about it with the offensive weapons you have. So.
Exactly. So I think
other than Rashid Rice, maybe MVS, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
I mean, you maybe will disagree with this, but I think Juju was a pretty solid addition last year.
He was.
And they lost him, so.
Yeah, he was a great possession catcher, which is something that they desperately need right now. Because
and I think they should have done something at the trade deadline. They should have done something at the trade deadline.
There are tons of good wide receivers out there on teams that aren't contending.
Exactly.
That you could have thrown a second. I mean, it's probably a little much, but I mean, what was stopping them from throwing a fourth or a third at the Titans and say, "Give us D-Hop"?
Not even D-Hop.
But even he makes that.
Even go for a disgruntled wide receiver or Devontae Adams. I thought they should have gone for really.
Oh yeah, but I don't know if Roger Goodell would have allowed that.
Yeah, but there you go. That's.
That's kind of my point. Even DeAndre Hopkins helps that team.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. So the fact that you couldn't unload a fourth round pick for him, he's 30, damn near 37.
Yeah.
So
go get your
someone because those receivers cannot create space to say
right. You could have maybe went inside the division and went for like a Cortland Sutton, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is all right. You could have went for somehow go to the NFC.
Mike Williams.
Well, he's injured.
Exactly. But next season.
An Adam Thielen type guy for the Panthers, right?
Are they getting rid of him though? I don't know.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But he's a veteran.
The fact that you didn't do anything is a little.
I think it's a little concerning.
Yeah, because Travis Kelce was really their only, like we were talking about Juju last year, was that he was a big guy. Patrick Mahomes could throw the ball up, he'll go up and he'll go and get it. I mean, they don't have anyone on that team this year besides Travis Kelce, and so like the Dolphins did when you double team Travis Kelce, now your other three wideouts have to create their own separation, and they can't do that consistently. And Mahomes he can't wait. I mean, he has time, but he can't wait 10 seconds for you to get open. So usually he's either taking off, he's checking it down, or he's getting sacked. B plus is a little high for me, honestly. Okay. I would give them B to B minus just because of how concerning that wide receiver play is.
But I think with the record they have, sitting at top, sitting at top of your division,
but
and you're 7-2.
But I definitely think they've been playing some pretty bad teams.
And the Lions lost. Arguments could be made they should have won that game.
Right. Yeah. Chris Jones plays, that's a different game.
Yep.
Darius Toney doesn't drop that pass.
Yep.
Travis Kelce plays, that's probably a different game too. But when you look at the games that they've been winning as of late, they're not really impressive wins. Barely beat the Jets. Yep. Like you said, they probably shouldn't have won that game.
And they blew out the Bears, but it's the Bears.
Bears, exactly. You lost to the Broncos, although Patrick Mahomes was sick. Still probably shouldn't have lost like that. And then who were the other teams they've beaten?
They beat the Dolphins.
That was a good win.
They beat the Vikings by 7 on the road.
See, that's not
They beat the Chargers by 14. They beat the Jags on the road.
The Jaguars game to me seemed like the only game that they really said, this is the team we were last year. They put up a lot of points on a really good team, held them to little to no points. So unless they play like that for the rest of the season, which they are capable of.
In the back half, they got the Eagles at home, they got the Bills at home, they got the Bengals at home, they got the Chargers on the road.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see how they play these next few weeks.
Yeah.
Good thing they got a bye this week. So they
definitely
have stuff to figure out, but yeah, B plus is a little high for me.
Okay. And then I'm gonna go a little controversial here. The Raiders have a C for me. They're actually not as bad as I thought because they fired Josh McDaniels.
Okay.
The lowest grade I have is the Broncos as D+.
D+. Okay.
Russell Wilson has played pretty good,
Yeah.
right? But still, there's still issues with that team. I had them as a sneaky playoff team, right? I was high on them because they brought in Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been like that.
anything?
Yeah, it hasn't been like that.
What does he even do?
What does that man do, right? I think D+ is actually a pretty fair grade.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I was, because to me,
If they lose to the Broncos, it's a D to D- for me.
right. I just think, I feel like they kind of have a little and this is obviously some recency bias, but that win against the Chiefs and they had another win in there. I forget who it was against, but they had another good win. Who was it against?
I got it. I'm on it. They beat the Packers.
The Packers. That was
by
it.
2.
Yeah.
And they beat the Bears by 3.
Then they have to come back and beat the Packers.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So they've had a few wins as of late.
Ooh.
Little momentum.
They hit a game-winning field goal with 3 minutes and 54 seconds left.
With who?
Against the Packers.
Yeah.
The Packers came back, actually. The Broncos were up 9-0 going into half.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, not the best team. But if we look at kind of like from the start of the season.
And they also lost 70-20.
Right. That is a big factor. Yeah, their first half of the, kind of like the Bengals. Your first half of the season was abysmal. But unlike the Bengals,
You've picked it up a little bit,
you
right?
have
Picked it up a little bit, but still,
bit.
D+ because I expected more from this team. With a
Yeah.
new coach that you spent a first, goddamn fucking everything on. So,
Right, so.
excuse for my animation.
No,
But
it's okay. Yeah. Well, then what do you have the Chargers at?
The Chargers, I have a C+.
C+. Wow, okay.
I think that they've been like this, you know.
See, I really think they've been more kind of like this.
They're second in division. They're 4-4.
Right.
Right.
Justin Herbert did not look good though yesterday.
He did not, but that's a solid Jets defense. But you got to find a way to win, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess if that was a closer game, I'm sure he would have been doing it. But I mean, games of late, he has not been winning games as of late.
I see what you mean.
With his play, I'm saying in those last few games where he's been in late game situations where this is it, final drive, let's go win the game. Turnovers, we saw it against Miami, we saw it not against Minnesota, they actually won that game, but it was Tennessee, Kansas City. It's just, to me, when you look at the Chargers, their expectations are always so high, and right now they're kind of underperforming. And of course, I don't think they're going to do anything significant until Brandon Staley's fired, which is probably going to happen after this year. But
should be.
Well, that's the thing. If they go on and keep winning games,
Then they can't fire him.
and they sneak into another wild card spot,
And the owners are stupid.
Yeah, they're not going to fire him.
Yeah,
and they could blow a 30-point playoff lead, and they might still keep him. So
there you go.
I just I guess preseason expectations, I wouldn't put their grade lower than the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, but I feel like their expectations, they've been playing a little lower than the Broncos. But I see what you're talking about, the grade, 70 points, you can't.
Yeah, and the expectations I had for them and kind of other people had. So,
I agree with that.
those are the mid-season grades, kind of the most of them we went through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that wildcard week. We've halfway through the season, boys. Halfway through the season, regular season.
Exactly.
It's kind of sad. I always love NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
It's ticking down more, but let's get into week 10.
Oh yeah.
We'll go through each game.
Yeah.
First, we got Thursday night. Oh, by the way, guys, all primetime games are stinkers.
Terrible.
So, first game is the Panthers at the Bears.
Oh my God.
Everyone, Sunday is the next game.
Who's playing quarterback for the Bears?
I think Fields was a limited participant this week.
All right, whoever plays quarterback for the Bears is going to determine my answer, so we can just skip that one.
Okay. Tyson Bagent plays.
Carolina.
Fields plays.
Chicago.
Okay. All right. I'm torn. I'm actually torn. But give me the Bears in a disgusting win. Like a 9.
They are at home. So. Minus by 4.
Yeah. I low-key might take no touchdown score in that game.
Offensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
Bryce Young might throw one.
To
the other team.
Let's go to the 9:30 game. Frankfurt. Another game in Germany. Colts and Patriots.
One. Colts are winning.
Yeah, I'll take the Colts.
Yeah, okay.
I'm close though. I'm close.
I'm not.
I'm close in it.
That might be a blowout.
Interesting. Then we go to 1:00. We start with the Packers at the Steelers.
Okay.
Give me the Steelers. And then discuss them one again.
I mean, I'll probably have
the defense will do something that helps the offense.
Exactly. I just don't. Jordan Love's. Although, no. Yeah, no. I mean, Will Levis did look good against that defense, but Jordan Love's worse. So, yeah, no. Give me the Steelers.
All right.
That's
Saints and Vikings. Saints are 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Saints. Oh, your list is different than mine. Okay.
What are you looking at? CBS, ESPN?
ESPN.
Okay. I'm on the score.
I see what you're saying. Okay. That'll be a good game.
Give me the Vikings.
I'm gonna take the Saints. I know what Josh Dobbs did was remarkable. I think the Saints are gonna game plan for him this week. I don't think the Falcons did last week.
We did
they
not.
Probably did not expect him to play.
We did not try to give Jared Allen a concussion.
Exactly. So I think with a weak game plan, I don't think Josh Dobbs is gonna play just like that again. I'm gonna take the Saints.
All right, I'll take the Vikings. First disagreement. Texans and Bengals. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, it's at home.
It's in the jungle, man. It's in the jungle, and the team is hot.
Team is hot.
Scorching hot.
Do you know what other team is hot? Team out of Houston, baby.
Out of Houston.
I'm going Texans.
All right, going Texans.
I'm going Texans.
All right, Browns and Ravens. Ravens at home.
I'm gonna take the Ravens at home.
It's a solid pick.
I just don't.
I mean, can you really go wrong?
I just don't know if Deshaun Watson, because he's coming back from injury. Did he play this week? I didn't watch the game, so I don't know.
When they played against the Cardinals.
Did he play?
I think so.
Yeah, actually, I think he did.
Yeah.
I think I did.
219 and 2 touchdowns.
219, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, that's not a great stat line against the Cardinals, especially. So, I mean, it's good.
Taking the Ravens?
I'm taking the Ravens. I don't know if Deshaun's going to be...
Titans and Buccaneers.
It's a good game.
Buccaneers at home. Give me the Bucks. I think they bounce back.
I'm probably going to have to take the Buccaneers, too.
Okay.
At home.
Baker Mayfield show. That's like your two favorite quarterbacks going against each other right there.
Like, what? Will Levis? That's not one of my favorite quarterbacks.
Niners and Jags. Niners on the road. Give me the Niners. Bounce back.
I'm gonna have to take the Niners. I don't see them losing 4 in a row.
Yeah.
If they do though, we got to start a dialogue.
We will start a dialogue.
I mean, I'll be cheering for Dougie P though. But I think the Niners.
Lions and Chargers in LA.
Yeah.
I think the Lions are gonna deck the shit out of that place.
It's a home game for the Lions.
Yeah, give me the Lions.
Yeah, no, I'm not even giving the Chargers a chance. Why is this Chargers plus 1.5?
Minus Detroit minus 2.
Yeah, I know Detroit. ESPN's got 1.5.
Yeah, it's kind of close. So
we'll see what happens.
They both go off different sports books. So
okay.
Commanders and Seahawks. Seahawks are 6.5-point favorites.
What is that?
It's 425. Give me the Seahawks.
Oh, okay. I see what you're looking at. Commanders, Seahawks. Yeah, especially at home.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, there's no way the Commanders
win. Cowboys and Giants. Cowboys at home.
Okay, don't. Next.
Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, next.
Jets and Raiders. I think the Jets bounce back. I think the Jets will win.
It's in Las Vegas, though.
It is, and they're coming off it. But they just used all their momentum on the interim head coach. Kind of, you fired coach.
I think this momentum might carry.
So you're going with the Raiders.
I'm going with the Raiders.
All right, I'm going with the Jets, and then Broncos and Bills.
Man, you skipped one.
What was that?
You're not talking about Falcons Cardinals?
Oh, that's right, because it's at the top of my screen. My fault. It was at the 4:05 because I haven't favored it. All right, Falcons and Cardinals. My apologies. Falcons and Cardinals. Forgot that 4:05 game. Falcons are actually down to 1-point favorites.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Falcons.
I'm going to take the Falcons as well.
Kyler
Murray's back.
Never mind. I'm going to take the Cardinals.
All right, I'm still taking the Falcons.
I'm just kidding.
And James Conner's back.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right, I'm still taking the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't... Well, are you going to get 3 bad losses in a row?
Is it a bad loss if it's a 1-point spread on the road?
I mean, if you lose to the Cardinals, I don't...
Kyler Murray and James Conner back.
Kyler Murray hasn't played football in, a year?
Doesn't matter. It's Kyler fucking Murray.
Yeah,
he's the GOAT.
He's been playing a lot of Fortnite recently, so...
Hey, the reason... Hold on, I might maybe switch your opinion. You know the reason I got the Falcons at the Cardinals? Call of Duty drops Thursday.
Falcons by 100.
We'll move on to Monday night.
Who's the Sunday night game?
Well, Sunday's Jets. Monday night, Broncos and Bills.
Bills.
Bills never seem to beat the teams they need to beat, but the Broncos will beat themselves. Give me the Bills.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a fever dream. I'll take the Bills.
What team can beat themselves is really the question.
Bills. What's stronger, the Madden curse or the Sean Payton curse?
The Sean Payton curse.
Yeah,
give me the fucking Bills.
Give me the Bills.
All right. Is it time?
I guess so.
Okay. Dog of the day. Brought to you by no one. All right.
So we have a little jingle now?
I guess so. I made something up on the spot. But yeah, dog of the day. We go through the scoreboards.
What's the update?
You're at 13 still?
Yeah, 13.
I'm now at 6 flat, baby. We made it. 6 flat.
There you go.
So yeah, give me the first pick, of course, because I'm down still. And I will take the. All right. You know how when I pick a team, they always get blown up by 50?
Oh, God. Yeah.
This might be this week. Give me the Cleveland Browns on the fucking road. Was that your pick?
That was one of them.
Okay. Give me the Cleveland Browns on the road. I think the defense is going to show out.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but it's going to be ugly because every AFC North game's ugly.
Right.
Division game. Give me the Cleveland Browns
+6.
+6.
Okay. So I was split between two, and since you took one of them, I guess I'll have to.
Well, you have to pick the other one you picked.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Are
you going to pick the Texans?
Yeah, I'm picking the Texans.
The Texans! Explain it, baby. Explain it.
I mean, C.J. Stroud just had the game of his life.
Yeah, that means he's got to balance out, you know?
I mean, he just 2 weeks ago, he just had the worst game of his life.
Oh, I guess we're balanced. I guess we're balanced now. I guess we're balanced.
NFL career-wise, when I mean life.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the Bengals, they've looked really good as of late.
Mm-hmm.
But this Texans, something's different. I mean, this team is like 50% made up of rookies, and they are 4-4 and beating good teams. Something is happening down in Houston.
And it's hot, and he wants it.
I'm buying
He's
in.
putting his hand on the
I
stove.
am buying into what's going on in Houston. Give me the Texans +7.
All right, we both going with some big spreads this week. Yeah, so we both may falter. I think yours actually has a better chance than mine. But
really, because I was gonna, if you didn't say Browns, I was gonna pick them.
Okay, well I picked the Browns, so
yeah, that was definitely a team I was leaning towards.
It'd be a big if the Browns hit and the Texans win. We're close now.
It's 13-12.
13-12 if that happens, but if you win, then it's really out of hand. 20-6. So
halfway mark is it's rough.
Yeah, so
you have to go like.
I gotta hit my hits. I gotta hit my hits.
9. No
almost went with the Giants this week.
Oh god! Could you imagine if they won?
That almost happened last year. The Texans were 17-point dogs and they almost won.
I remember that.
That would have been a huge dog of the day right there.
Yeah, I already know if AJ was here, he'd be telling us about how the Giants are going to bounce back.
Yeah, he will.
Generational game, trying to get us to buy in.
Yeah.
And we'll just tell him he's stupid.
Hopefully he'll be here next week, though, so we'll see the dog of the day. But that'll be it for this episode. You have any more thoughts before?
No. Dallas sucks. Go Birds.
Birds are on bye. Falcons but the Cardinals. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Nothing Agreed. Back with the NFL pod. Are we doing a little Thursday action in the NBA?
Probably.
We'll talk about it, but Thursday, look out for the NBA on Thursday. Thank you all for listening so much. Nothing Agreed. Barron, myself. Thank you for listening, and peace.